Rain pounded the streets of Boston like it had a personal grudge. It was past 11 p.m., and Michael Reed, a 34-year-old single dad, was finishing what he hoped would be his last ride share of the night. His old Toyota Camry smelled faintly of wet upholstery and the strawberry air freshener his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, had insisted on hanging from the rear-view mirror. During the day, Michael worked construction. At night, he drove for extra cash. Life was a grind, but every time Lily smiled and called him the best dad ever, it felt worth it. His phone buzzed with a new request: pick up at a quiet alley near the Charles River. Passenger name, Eliza Hawkins. Michael turned the wheel and headed over. The storm had turned vicious, wind rocking the car, visibility near zero. When he arrived, headlights caught a figure slumped against a brick wall. A woman in a soaked white dress, blood and mud streaking her legs. Her face was pale, lips blue. She wasn't moving. Michael slammed on the brakes, jumped out, and ran to her. "Ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear me?" No response. Her chest wasn't rising. He checked for a pulse, weak, fading. In her pocket, he found an empty EpiPen. Severe allergic reaction, probably anaphylaxis. No time for an ambulance, she'd be gone before they arrived. Michael had taken basic first aid training years ago for work. He started CPR, chest compressions, rescue breaths. But her airway was swelling shut. Nothing was working. "Come on, don't do this," he muttered, panic rising. Desperation took over. He sealed his mouth over hers and forced air in, again and again, a desperate, life-saving kiss. Seconds felt like hours. Then, suddenly, she gasped. Her eyes fluttered open. Color crept back into her face. Eliza Hawkins, only heir to the Hawkins empire, a multi-billion-dollar real estate dynasty that owned half of Boston's skyline. The most powerful, most isolated woman in the city. She stared up at him, dazed. You. Stay with me," Michael said, scooping her up and carrying her to the car. He drove straight to the nearest hospital, sirens from passing ambulances echoing in the storm. Doctors confirmed it, peanut allergy attack after a business dinner. Her EpiPen had malfunctioned. Without intervention, she would have died. The mouth-to-mouth had kept her alive long enough for the swelling to subside. By morning, the story exploded. Single dad driver kisses billionaire heiress to save her life. Grainy security footage from a nearby camera had leaked, Michael's face clear, Eliza unconscious in his arms. Social media went wild. Some called him a hero, others whispered scandal. A poor guy kissing a billionaire? In her mouth? Disgusting. Tabloids spun it into romance, intrigue, class warfare. Eliza was discharged the next day. Her father, Richard Hawkins, the iron-fisted patriarch of the empire, arrived at the hospital in a convoy of black SUVs. He looked Michael up and down. "You saved my daughter's life. Name your price." Michael shifted uncomfortably. "I don't need money, sir. Just, maybe help get my daughter into a better school. She's smart, but the public one's rough." Richard stared, then let out a short laugh. "You have no idea what you've done, son." Eliza slipped Michael her private number before leaving. "I want to see you. Alone." Back home, Lily was waiting. "Daddy, why's your picture on TV? Did you save a princess?" Michael hugged her tight. "Something like that, kiddo." 2 days later, Eliza called. "Come to my house. Please." Michael hesitated but went. The Hawkins mansion overlooked the harbor, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, art worth more than his entire life. Eliza met him in the garden. "The media won't stop. My father, the board, the shareholders, they all want you gone. They say you're a distraction, a liability." "I'm not from your world," Michael said quietly. You should listen to them. Eliza stepped closer. That kiss, it wasn't just to save me. I felt something. For the first time in years, I felt alive. Michael's heart raced. Eliza. Let me spend time with you. With Lily. Just a few days. He agreed. They started small, walks in the park, coffee shops, evenings by the river with Lily giggling between them. Lily adored Eliza. You're pretty like a movie star, Aunt Eliza. But the press wouldn't let go. Headlines screamed, Billionaire Heiress dating her blue-collar savior? Photos leaked, candid shots twisted into scandal. Richard summoned Michael. 5 million. Take it and disappear. Michael refused. I'm not here for money. Eliza confronted her father. Dad, I'm falling in love with him. Richard roared. Impossible. He's nothing. But Eliza stood firm. She began appearing publicly with Michael and Lily. The city watched, divided. Some cheered the fairy tale, others sneered at the gold digger narrative flipped on its head. Then came the real danger. Eliza discovered her allergy attack wasn't random. Someone inside the company had laced her food with peanut extract. A power play. Her cousin James, vice president and ambitious rival, was the prime suspect. Michael looked at her. We fight this. Together. Eliza refused to run. She called an emergency board meeting. Michael stood beside her as she walked into the glass-walled conference room atop Hawkins Tower. Whispers rippled through the executives. Who's the guy? This is Michael Reed, Eliza announced. The man who saved my life. And the reason I'm still here to fight for this company. She presented evidence, emails, security footage, lab reports, proving James had orchestrated the poisoning to force a takeover during her absence. Gasps filled the room. Security escorted James out in handcuffs. The board voted unanimously to reinstate Eliza full control. But the personal battle wasn't over. Richard still opposed the relationship. He's a driver. A single father scraping by. You deserve better. Eliza met his eyes. I deserve someone who would risk everything to save me, even when he had nothing to gain. That's Michael. Richard studied Michael for a long moment. Prove you're worthy. Marry her. Properly. No shortcuts. Michael blinked. Marriage? Eliza blushed but smiled. Only if you want to. Weeks later, Michael knelt in the garden where they'd first talked. Lily held the ring box, beaming. Daddy, ask her. Eliza Hawkins, will you marry me? Yes, she whispered, tears in her eyes. The wedding was held at Boston's historic Trinity Church. Lily scattered flowers down the aisle. The city turned out, some to celebrate, some to gawk. Media called it Boston's modern Cinderella. Richard walked Eliza down the aisle, finally accepting the man who'd given him his daughter back. After the honeymoon, Eliza brought Michael into the company, not as arm candy, but as a partner. He finished his degree, business management, paid for by a scholarship Eliza quietly arranged. Lily started at the best private school in the city. Life stabilized. A year later, Eliza was pregnant. They sat by the Charles River one evening, watching the sunset. Lily played nearby, chasing fireflies. That night, Eliza said softly, when you kissed me to save me, it wasn't just CPR. It was the moment my heart started beating again. Michael pulled her close. And you gave mine a reason to keep going. They kissed, not desperate this time, but deep, certain, full of promise. Boston, once shocked and divided, now embraced them as their own fairy tale. A reminder that sometimes, the most unlikely people save each other, and change everything.